12D gatekeeper, grid keeper. What does it actually mean? Because if I'm not mistaken, I often hear you say that 5D is the limit of our physicality, of us humans being physical, that after that we become non-physical. So thank you for explaining this a bit more. Thank you. Bye-bye.
4D is the limit of physicality. 5D is totally non-physical. But the idea is that people can connect to those higher frequency dimensions. It doesn't mean they live there as a physical being, but all of you exist on different dimensional levels. So someone saying, well, I am from this dimension or that level, may simply be using an old-fashioned term to say that they feel connected to that non-physical dimension of reality or that frequency of existence. But clearly, as a physical being, they don't reside there, but they may reside there as a non-physical being, as a higher level spirit, which you all have on different levels of existence. Now, some people may also simply be putting out information that is erroneous because they simply have a misunderstanding of how these things work and a misinterpretation of what terminology to use that would be more accurately representative of what they're saying. But all of you exist on every level. So it depends on what you're keying into that allows you to say perhaps that I'm tapping into 8th dimension or 12th dimension or this or that. Also remembering that dimensional labels are relatively arbitrary because it's just a matter of different frequencies.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Wow, I'm so excited. I really love you. Really, thank you
Oh,
for doing it.
our unconditional love to you as well.
Thank you. I want to ask you about the experience I had while I was meditating about a place in South Korea, Jeju Island. I felt connected to it. I saw it on TV, and I wanted to visit there in my meditation. And I saw a being who accompanied me. That was a woman of octopus and a body of a woman, and she was bluish. She didn't talk to me. She just went with me everywhere where I went. And there was when we went to the water, and I felt she wanted to teach me how to breathe in the water. I don't know what the meaning of it. Can you give me more information?
Well, you are experiencing a combination symbol of things that represent different vibrations that are connected to the ocean because of your connection to the star system of Sirius. Do you understand?
Yes.
But what you're dealing with are elemental beings in nature that are connected to the idea of the sea, presenting you with a multiple combination being in your meditation to represent the different relationships and aspects of the ocean and the beings within it that you are most strongly experiencing. So look at it symbolically. Look at it symbolically for what the different aspects of that being represent to you. For example, the idea of the octopus not only represents an extraterrestrial connection because octopods belong to a different reality, even though they are also projecting themselves into yours, but also the idea of the eightfold way, the 8 branches, like a web stretching out so that you can experience more of your connections to different things on your planet and other planets as well. The woman, of course, the aspect of your femininity that allows you to dive deeply into your emotional being, to understand how to hold on to or let go of belief systems that do and don't work for you. And there are other symbols there for you as well. You have to ask yourself what these different aspects represent to you. And you will have a deeper understanding of why those aspects were reflected to you. Does that help?
Yes, but I don't understand why she wanted to teach me about breathing in the water. What does it gives me?
It's the idea, again, of the ocean standing for a deep dive into your consciousness and how to allow yourself to be more naturally connected to your deeper self, your higher self, and how to breathe in a new reality. Also, dealing with a spirit, it's like the idea that many times when people on your planet connect to spirits, the air around them may feel like they're attempting to breathe water. So she's, in a sense, helping you understand how to breathe in a new reality, breathe at a new level of experience, breathe in the new vibration, and make it as real as the idea of the air you breathe. Make it as natural to dive into those other dimensions, other realms, other ideas of yourself, as natural as breathing the air in the reality that you're familiar with. So teaching you how to breathe underwater doesn't necessarily mean that literally. It means teaching you how to exist and thrive in a new reality, a new level, a reality that contains more information for you, more connections for you, to breathe it all in.
Yes,
Yes?
I understand it. Yes, thank you. It helps.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I want to ask you about the soul. You said that when we die, then our focus becomes the soul of this lifetime, physical life that we had, the soul that connected to the life that we had. But
Yes.
now, if the soul wants to choose a so-called new life,
Yes.
then does she split herself and
No, that
focus
soul
becomes the new
experiences.
soul?
No, a soul experiences a new life. There's a new soul. You have to understand that you're also experiencing this from a higher level. So think of it as an oversoul that has many different soul individual extensions, and each of those extensions can experience a different life. So you're looking at something linearly that actually takes place on a non-linear level. So you're not splitting, it's just that you're coming from the higher level of the oversoul that already has many, many different individual soul extensions through which it can experience individual lives, all existing at the same time, even though from your experience it seems as if they're happening one after another. But that's an illusion of physical reality.
So if I die and then I feel that I is this soul for this life, so what does my focus change? Like, how do I know who am I? Like, maybe one day I'll say, okay, I'm the oversoul, and I feel like I'm the oversoul, and now I want to be this specific soul. Does my focus change all the time?
In a sense, yes. Let me give you an analogy with a human hand. The hand, the whole hand, is the oversoul. Here's a life, here's a life, here's a life, here's a life, here's a life. Individual soul, individual soul, individual soul, individual soul, individual soul. All the fingers exist at the same time for the hand. So this never becomes this. This finger never becomes this finger. This finger never becomes this finger. But if you look at it from a linear perspective, you can say, oh, I'm looking at this finger now, my focus is on this finger now, my focus is here, my focus is here. But they all exist and all extend from the hand. So it depends on whether you're looking from the perspective of the oversoul or whether you're looking from the perspective of an individual finger. But yes, it's all about changing your focus constantly in order to have different kinds of experiences. Linear ones from the finger's point of view, or simultaneous ones from the hand's point of view. Does that help?
I just think it's so confusing to know who am I. Like,
you are all that is.
But it's so many things.
Yes, that's what all that is. All that is all the things in existence. All of them. So that could be said from your point of view to be the ultimate level. But you can experience yourself in a way that is like you are not all that is. You can experience different portions of all that is. So you are always constantly dynamically changing your focus, but your focus also exists in all of those places simultaneously. I understand that to a linear perspective that can seem somewhat confusing, but you're constantly shifting your focus and doing so more often than not as you expand your consciousness, so that when you say, I'm experiencing this or I'm experiencing that, the I that you are referring to can actually be different levels of yourself from time to time. So you have to know which I you're talking about when you describe a particular experience.
So when the people die and they know that now their energy, they're not confused, they understand it all.
Yes.
The moment they die, they understand, they feel the connection.
Well, it depends on what you feel you need to go through the moment you die. You may experience different things that don't necessarily allow you to experience all that knowledge, but eventually you'll get to the point sooner or later where you understand it.
Okay. And when you say that, when we're talking to you, we're talking to our higher mind and using you as a permission slip, but you're your own individual. So why would you speak as my higher mind? You can say whatever you want. You have your free will.
Yes, I can. But remember, I'm also doing a job that I chose to do with my passion and my free will. And part of the job is helping to reflect to you what your higher mind is saying so that you can get more used to communicating with your own higher mind using us as an example. It's simply part of my job description.
But people's mind that listen to you thinks the same. Their higher minds are the same.
On a basic level, the principles are all the same. But no, there are, of course, differences in the way that you express yourself as a higher mind, as a physical mind. But remember, you gravitated to us vibrationally. You're asking us the questions, which means there is some similar vibration in your higher mind that can serve you by answering the questions you would ask of it.
So it's not exactly the words you say, but the meaning, the energy of,
Yes.
of our higher mind, not specific the words.
Sometimes specifically the words, but more often than not the energy. Remember, higher mind communicates with an energy language that you translate in your physical reality as passion, excitement, creativity, love. That's the language of the higher mind as you interpret it through your physical medium. But nevertheless, you have attracted yourself to us, which means there is a vibrational frequency within you that also is similar to the vibrational frequency within us and within your higher mind. So you have decided that, at least for right now, allowing us to represent the higher mind is the path of least resistance for you. Maybe you will change your mind tomorrow.
And in telepathy, when two people think the same, who gives the first one the words? Where do they come from if the two people thinking the same?
The words are everywhere. Remember, all knowledge is ensconced everywhere all the time, here and now. So when you're on a certain wavelength, a certain frequency, that means only certain words will be relevant to that frequency. And so both of you or all of you will think of those words at the same time because those are the words that go with the frequency that you're both on.
So
Everything has a matching
already
frequency.
here.
Yes, of course, they're everywhere. Everything exists now, including words. Just because you don't think of them yet doesn't mean they don't exist.
Okay, I understand.
All right, does that help?
Yes, thank you. Can you just say to my hybrid children that I'm ready for them to land?
They have heard you and they will determine when the readiness is appropriate.
Okay, thank you. I love you very, very much.
Our unconditional love once again to you, Aveo.
Aveo.
The 432 Hz tuning was more natural to our bodies. Could you clarify it? If I use only C-sharp sound during the day, which tuning do you recommend? Thank you and goodbye.
All right, now this goes back to what we have always told you, that everything is a permission slip and that your own higher mind will adjust what works for you. So if 432 works better for you than 440, go with the flow. That's all there is to say about it. Trust that your imagination will alter whatever it is we suggest, because there's always a range to the things we suggest as permission slips. It's not always dead on accurate to the particular frequency. Different individuals have different beliefs that generate a need for different frequencies. 432 isn't that far from 440, and it may be within the range that works for you. So trust your instincts and go with what works for you, because everything in physical reality is just a permission slip. And if it works for you on 432, then you are giving yourself permission to be more of yourself on that frequency. So go for it.
Hi, Bashar. How's it going?
Perfect. And you?
I'm doing really, really good.
Oh, all right.
It's a pleasure to finally get to speak to you after 8 years of watching your material.
All right. Well, it is our passion and our pleasure to interact with you as well. What would you like to discuss?
Okay, so I am aware that your civilization is telepathic.
Yes.
And throughout my growth, I've started to experience sort of telepathy. My question for you is, am I actually telepathic?
Everyone is. Everyone is, whether you know it or not. The thing is, you just don't know enough about how it all works. You don't know the playing field that you're practicing in enough. Because sometimes what you pick up on may not necessarily be relevant for your particular reality, even though it's real. You may be picking up telepathically on a parallel reality. So it may not be relevant for yours, and that's when it seems not to be accurate. So you have to understand that sometimes as you vary your frequency, you may be going beyond your particular individual timeline.
Wow. So are you saying that like I could be connecting to a different parallel version of like a celebrity or something from another universe? Or
Yes. So that's part of what you have to learn as discernment, and you'll get used to it as you practice over time to be able to tell the difference between what connections you're making that are relevant for your timeline and what connections you may be making that are relevant for other timelines. Because the idea of expanding your consciousness can easily take you into parallel realities. You just have to learn the difference about what is germane for you and your reality. But that comes with practice.
I've experienced like relationships and even so, they're not real, but like marriages. Like,
Yes, I understand. And they are real. They're just not relevant for your reality.
okay, so where are they relevant?
In parallel realities. As I said, it's part of the way you practice. You just have to learn to tell the difference. That's part of your discernment. That comes with a different flavor. You just have to learn how to recognize that flavor, that feeling, that difference within things that are part of your reality and things that are part of a parallel reality. It will come with practice.
Why would my higher self give me these experience or like show me these experiences if they're not relevant for my
What's relevant is the understanding that you have the ability to know about parallel realities and use them to guide your course. Because you're creating your timeline out of 1 billion different parallel realities every second. So it's just the nature of what happens when you start exploring consciousness that you become aware of tapping into different parallel realities. Because even though some of the details in those parallel realities are not relevant, the fact that you're tapping into them more consciously is relevant, because that's how you create your life anyway. So it's just that you may not understand the purpose for that yet, because you're looking at it from an old-fashioned, outdated point of view of, well, if I'm getting this information, it must all be true in my reality. No, that's not necessarily the reason why you start picking up on parallel realities. It's to allow you more ability to tap into the parallel realities that truly define your timeline, the relevant one for you. So it just comes with the territory.
That's cool. I mean, this was like a year's worth of literally completely losing myself in this kind of thing.
That's all right. Again, it's just a matter of understanding the territory and how it actually works so that you can use it in a more relevant and precise way, rather than assuming that everything you're seeing is relevant. It's just like walking down a street in your reality. Not every side street is relevant for you to turn down, but you still pass them. You're still aware of them. Not every person that passes you on the street is someone you need to talk to, but you're still aware of them. You still pass by them in order to get to where it is relevant for you, in order to get to the person you need to have the conversation with. It's just that right now you're assuming that every person you pass has the same degree of relevance for you just because you passed them. They don't. You have to learn the difference in the same way that you learn that I don't need to talk to that person just because they passed within inches of me.
Yeah.
So,
but they are real though, right?
Yes, they're all real. You can't imagine non-existence. In some way, shape, or form, in some dimension, in some parallel universe, in their own right, they're real in their own way. But again, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay. So like you became my best friend.
All right.
Are you aware of this? Like,
if I don't need to be, no. Right now, at this particular moment, I need to be aware of the interaction we are having. I don't always need to be aware of interactions that other people may have in their version of their universe, because it's fine for you to tap into the collective energy of my people, my world, my reality, my parallel universe, and even portions of my own real consciousness. But I don't need to necessarily be aware of them.
Okay. But I do. So that's cool.
So it's relevant for you.
Yes. Yes.
Right now, this is the interaction that's relevant for both of us.
Right. Right. This is like the coolest thing ever.
Whatever temperature you want it to be.
Is this the future? Because
Is this the future?
no, not this. Yes, it is. But like I'm talking about, is telepathy? Is it?
Yes, 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 yes. The answer is yes. Humanity is evolving, at least some of you are, to where the idea of telepathy, which from our point of view is really telempathy,
Telepathy, yeah.
is actually going to increase and be something that will become common in your society and recognized as such, as it is in our society. It'll take some time, but that's all right. There are still individuals who do it all the time. The idea, again, and why we call it telempathy, is because remember, you're not reading someone else's mind and they're not reading yours. You're simply operating on the same wavelength and having the same thoughts at the same time. That's what telepathy is. That's why people who are in love know what each other is thinking very often, because they're on the same wavelength. And that's why we call it telempathy. You have to be on the same wavelength to actually have the same thoughts as someone else at the same time synchronistically.
Should I continue this practice? I mean, is it
As long as you're open to the idea of understanding the discernment that will come with it so that you can understand the playing field you're operating in, then fine. Just don't make immediate assumptions about things having to be this way or that way. Remember, the formula says no assumption and no insistence on what you think the outcome is supposed to be. Just open up to the idea of being connected. Open up to the idea of loving everything and everyone. And then you will experience more telepathy as you need to in whatever way is relevant for you. But again, remember, the relevance may simply be to give you the practice to tell the difference between what is relevant for your reality and not. That's also part of it. So don't make assumptions that everything has to be relevant.
okay? So I have one last question.
Yes.
About telepathy.
Yes.
So I made deep bonds with these people in my consciousness.
In your reality, yes.
Are those people like say, and they're real here?
I understand.
I don't want to
Remember,
it's actually happening with them.
Yes, it may not be. Some of them it may, some of them it may not. And again, that's where the discernment comes in.
Is it still them? Is it like there's?
It's your version of them. Remember, you're creating your version of everyone. It doesn't mean people aren't real. It just means that you're creating your version to interact with. If there is an agreement on the part of another person that it's relevant for them to also experience the bond in their version of you, then yes, you'll make a connection and synchronicity will show you when that's obvious. If the opportunities don't arise in your reality, then there's no agreement to connect. Let it be obvious. If synchronicity provides an opportunity to connect on the physical plane, that might be an indication that there is some kind of a connection that can be expressed as a bond. But again, never assume what that bond is all about.
Okay. So
trust the synchronicity of how your life unfolds.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, it happened for a reason. So
exactly.
I'm just hoping something happens.
You don't have to hope. Something will happen. But again, don't put insistence on it because you don't know what the ideal outcome with your connection to any of these people actually is for.
Okay.
So let it show you what it's for. All right?
Okay.
All right. We thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good day.